she said that overarching statement, or the thing that I saw was, men prefer average women or 7/8 over 10s because they're more submissive. And so I'm going to read the statement and I'm going to weigh in because this went viral, went absolutely viral. I have a perspective, so your girl's going to get into it. Okay, so this is what Cardi said. She said these B words don't have nothing. That don't have nothing, they tolerate everything. She said these B words that don't have nothing tolerate everything. She said if a man do some F stuff, the next day the B word is going to answer the phone. She said if you do some F stuff to me, I'm putting you on effing yellow. She said you on this is where you at, on ice. She said that she upped the ante by saying that a wealthy guy with a lot of money, I know a guy, a rich dude. He literally told me to hit my face, I'd rather deal with a 7 and an 8 than a 10. Cardi added that women who are in 10s are willing to settle. Same. They just don't feel like they gotta compete. Like one little thing and they're off. They just gotta feel like they're already picking. According to Cardi, women who rank as 10s on this mythical scale of attractiveness refuse to play along, which some men find intimidating. She said these 10s are not trying to compete. They're just trying to get picked. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's how men are thinking these days. So here's the thing. Here's my thing. When I'm listening or reading this situation, I'm going to try to boil it down to what she's saying that a lot of men are preferring to date, even, high net worth men are trying to date 7 and 8s. Because 10s attitudes, to her point, are unwilling to deal with certain things. That if a woman feels like a 10, there's going to be certain things she does or does not put up with. And this man is preferring to be with women who would put up with it. So because of that, they're dating down to get women that are more tolerating of BS. That's what it says. That's what it says. I just broke down in my own words. That's what it says. Okay. And on some level, do I think it is true? And I have actually done videos on this, that men tend to go for women that are more, the research shows more average looking women versus more attractive women. Yes, that is research based. Do I think that guys that have high net worths end up dealing with women that aren't necessarily what you would expect? Yes, I believe that is true. But I don't necessarily take that it's because these women just deal with everything. I think that they just happen to have, and I'm just gonna be honest with y'all, okay? I'm just gonna keep it real. I've been around women that, are more attractive than most. Okay, so we're gonna say like 9s and 10s. I don't think anyone's like a perfect 10. 10 is subjective. What one man thinks is perfect is not what another man thinks is perfect. So I don't think anybody's a 10. I think we're all in. The highest you can get is like a 9.9, 9.8, whatever that may be. I don't think 10 is perfect. And like I said, nobody's perfect. But anyway, I digress. So when you're talking about these 9s and between 9 and 10 range, I think that when you're around women like that, and I've been around women that I would say are 9s, in high 9s and whatever, a lot of them are not pleasant to be around. They're not the most pleasant people to be around. They don't have the greatest personalities. They're in their phone, they're taking pictures. They're not the greatest people to be around. Okay, and I'm saying this with all honesty. I'm not gonna BS y'all. I'm not gonna come on here and do that because that's not what I want to do. Okay. I'm going to be honest with y'all. All right. So to me, I think a lot of guys, why do they prefer maybe less attractive women? Because maybe lesser attractive women are not so full of themselves. Lesser attractive women are going to be better in relationships. They're going to be more pleasing to be around. They're going to have more to talk about. They may be deeper. They may have better personalities. That is this stereotype of lesser attractive or quote unquote more average women. Now, to me, 7 and 8s are not average. Average is what? 1 plus 10, right? We did this in school. We add all the numbers up and then we divide it by the amount of numbers that are there. The average number is 5, right? So that's average. So we're talking about an average woman that's a 5, okay? Anything up 7 and 8s is better than 5. That's like cute and pretty, in my opinion. Okay, that's just what I'm saying. You talking about cute and pretty women versus, beautiful and gorgeous women. That's how I rate them, y'all. That's how I do it. It's decent, good, I think average women, I hate this whole average. It just sounds terrible, but it is what it is, right? We're here. We're already here. We're in the water. Let's keep swimming. So my thing is, do some men date lesser attractive women because they put up with more stuff? I think it's more personality, because you can have the baddest women or the women that have the most stuff. I've met a lot of women. They got everything, and they keep taking their raggedy man back. Okay, I'm just being honest. They can have a lot. They could be gorgeous women, but they take a lot from their man. I don't think it's about outside appearance. I think it's about what's on the inside. I think if you can be the most attractive woman. What did Kanye say? Kanye said, the most beautiful people do the ugliest things on the road to riches and diamond rings. I believe that. I believe that as the more beautiful you are, it really does depend on what's on the inside of you, what you are willing to take and what you're not willing to take. Okay. And so a lot of times when you don't have a low, or you have a low view of yourself, you will take more things. You could be the baddest thing walking, but if you don't have a high view of self, that determines how and what you decide to take in relationships, right? So to me, I don't think that it's fair. I don't think that it's fair to anybody that we say, oh, it's because they take a lot of stuff. I think some men, honestly, if we're being very real, it really just, I think some men are like, no, I'm going for the, especially I would assume a higher net worth individual. If he's like, I've got this and I've built this for myself, I'm going to find the unicorn. I'm finding the daggone needle in the haystack. Now, some men may not try to find the needle in the haystack. They may settle with the woman that's average. But other men are like, no, I don't work too hard. I'm finding the unicorn. I want the girl who looks a certain way, has a great personality, is intelligent, all the other things that matter to that man, because everything matters differently to that man. Some men want somebody who can cook. Some men want somebody who can clean. Some men want them a freak. Some men want them a fitness model. Some men everybody want different things. Okay, so whatever is a 10 to that man and whatever is the unicorns to him, that is what he's looking for. So to me, personally, I think that a lot of times, why are they not touching women that are 10s? Well, unfortunately, women that are 10s have a bad reputation. Women that are 10s, or what the society deems as 10s or 9s and 10s, because again, I don't believe in a 10. I believe no one is perfect. But 9s and 10s, they have a bad reputation. People look at them in a negative light. They have a negative stereotype. What's the stereotype, Sam? Stereotype is that their personalities are not that great. Stereotypes is that they're really good to look at, and they might be a decent time to sleep with. But otherwise than that, they're not good for relationships. What's the stereotype, Sam? That they done talk to everybody. They done been with everybody. Because they can get everybody. And because they may not, in our society, have the discipline to say no to certain things and have certain boundaries. Therefore and wherefore, you have the issue that men may not trust a 9 or a 10, because they might have heard that 10 or 9 or whatever we want to call them was out here with multiple people that they know closely. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why I'm saying that in this instance, when we're talking about people, when we're talking about certain people and we're talking about certain things, all right, y'all. I don't really understand why. Hold on, let me remove. No, I want to, yeah. Okay. When we're talking about certain people and we're talking about certain things, we are talking about, everybody has a different preference, right? Everybody views things differently. Everybody values things differently. That's just what it is. When it comes down to it, I think that the appearance is men, like we want to make, oh, less attractive women are not as strong. And I don't like that persona. I don't like that mentality. That is not the case. I think a lot of men, when we're talking about relationships, and I'm just going to keep it real, a lot of men choose, this is what I've observed. I don't know this to be fact, but what I've observed is that men are not, when they go into long-term relationships with women, or they're choosing partners like girlfriend or like long-term situations, they're looking for women from a logical standpoint. They're not going with their hearts and their feelings. I would, and I'm not saying all men, but I'm saying a lot of men, I believe, are more likely to choose from a place of logic. Like, okay, if I'm going to settle down with this person and have children with this person, they're going to have certain characteristics. That's what I believe. So because of that, somebody said the smart men. Very good. Very good. And somebody said, as a man, that's a fact. That's a fact. Right. Okay. So again, I think that they're more logical. They're looking at it like, okay, will this person be a good mother? I think when Kevin Samuels was huge and was big and everything like that, Kevin Samuels was very big on certain things. What were some certain things? He said attractive. He said caring, considerate. He said nurturing. He said pleasant. I'm missing some, but he talked about different characteristics that made up what would be a good wife and mother. Not what she looks like. That's more of a modern concept that men have like really tapped into. He was more about, yes, attractiveness. Obviously, the more attractive the woman is, okay, there's going to be more men that want her. That's just men are more visual. However, when we talk about settling down in relationships, men are looking for certain characteristics in that woman. More so, we're talking about settling down. Some of y'all are really stuck on what are they going after to date? That's different than what I'm going to be in a real relationship. Who am I really going to take seriously? Okay, that's different. And when they're talking about taking somebody seriously, and I'm not saying because men taking someone seriously, they could be dating a woman and be in a whole relationship but not take her seriously. I've known men that be in relationships with women and they still telling me about other women that they dealing with that they really do take seriously, while they're still dating a woman that they don't take seriously and they've been dating her for years. Okay, men have that ability to say, I like you for the moment. You're a great time, you meet certain needs, but you're not my wife, or you're not the woman I want to be with for a long time. You're a really good time, but you're not a long time. And I'm clear. And a lot of times, and I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Y'all can correct me in the chat. A lot of men already know what they can see as being the woman that would be good for a longer time. They can be in the situation with the woman that's, I'm not ready for her yet, but I see her. I'm in, we around, and when I'm ready to really try to, because I don't know if I'm ready to really just cash in all my chips at the casino. But when I am, I'm going over. I'm going right over there. I already know. I know what time it is. I know who it is. I know where it's at. Man, that's how I feel. And so I think a lot of women, what we misinterpret is what men we're like, oh, well, men are going after these women. Yes, they going after these women, and they may date these women, and there may be, they may be whatever. But I feel like certain men, if they're wise, if they have some wisdom, they're going to look for other characteristics that mean more than what you look like. So yes, you may be talking about a 10 in appearance, but what is she like as a mother? Okay, yes, you might be talking about 10 in appearance, but what is she like as a person? Yes, you're talking about 10 in looks, but what is she like? What kind of moral compass does she live by? Is she intelligent? Can she articulate herself well? Can she complete a sentence? Can I take her into different environments and I know she won't embarrass me? These are different things. That is the responsibilities of someone that I'm taking seriously versus somebody that I'm just taking for right now and for as long as I want to do this. Okay, that is the difference. And I think wise men understand the difference, right? Not every man, wise men. Younger men may need a little bit more coaching. Older men may already know the game. They know what time it is, right? They know the difference between X, Y, and the Z. All right?